All right, everyone, welcome back. We're talking about what was it again? The purpose of impact this time around, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, the purpose of impact. Listen,
Hey, y'all.
yeah, we just know we're talking about focusing on impact, but we're never sure what the heck we're talking about. But we're talking about the purpose of impact, and we kind of alluded to that in our last video, what the purpose of impact is, but we're going to delve into it a little bit more today. So if this is your first time joining us, welcome to Mission Impact. My name is Tracy D. Allen. I am the owner of TVA Consulting Group. I'm a social impact strategist, and I help social impact businesses to design, build, and fund their social ventures.
And hello, I am Ty Boone. I am owner of Ty Boone Enterprises. I work primarily with nonprofit organizations, helping them to move from startup and struggle to sustainability and success. That's what I do. And Tracy, together, we create a whole lot of impact, y'all. This is why we're about this thing called
Yes.
impact. It's like,
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So we're talking. Yeah. So we're talking about the purpose of impact and why is impact important to your organization, and why do we even use the word impact? Because I'm sure if you know nothing else about Ty and I, the word impact is synonymous with both of us because we're always talking about it, right?
the new black. Impact.
Yes, impact is the new black. So why is impact so important to social enterprises, social entrepreneurs, or nonprofit organization? Is because this is the way that you prove that you have transformed a person or a community based on your mission and vision. Right. And just to recap, your vision is your long-term goals, and your mission are the day-to-day activities that you do to get to those long-term goals. And the impact is what you create based on those long-term goals, right? So that is why it is so important to make sure that you are able to show impact, that you're able to demonstrate that you've been able to take someone or a community from point A at least to point K. Even if you haven't gotten them all the way to Z yet, but you've shown that there's a progression. This is how we started, and this is how we're progressing along. And this is a change that's occurring because of that progression, due to the systems and processes we have in place, and the programs and services that we provide.
Mm-hmm. I tell people at the time, like you said, get them from point A to point K. Don't worry about point Z right now, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we get so overwhelmed, right? And we end up doing nothing. It's like, all right,
Right.
well, I can't go to Z right now, and I forgot the K was an alphabet. So I'm not. So if I can't go to Z, I'm not doing anything. It's
analysis paralysis. That's what I call it.
You're just stuck, right? And stuck is not sexy. You're just stuck right there. And when you talk about being able to stay within mission and focus on your mission and your vision and then create the impact, like Tracy said, your mission is what you're doing right now. So right now, all we can worry about is what we're doing right now. And we have these projections for what we want to accomplish in the future, which is the vision, right? And knowing that when your vision is complete, you have produced this thing called impact. And you can and you can have several different parts to your vision because it's a process. So it doesn't have to be, hey, I want to provide housing for 250,000 people. Right now, I can only provide housing for 20 people, right? Or next year is 20 people. So how does that housing for 20 people change or transform those 20 people that you have in this house, right? And be able to communicate that. Because a lot of times we're doing stuff and we're saying we're doing the work, but nobody knows it. And that's why we're missing it. We're like, oh, I did this, or you don't know what kind of data to collect, or you don't know, hey, what does it mean to provide nights of stay for somebody? Mm-hmm. How important is that versus saying I provided housing to 5 people, or I provided 50 nights of stay to somebody who didn't have any place to stay any night. So even communicating in that way make your followers and your supporters know, oh, they're doing something that's impactful because they're giving somebody a place to sleep for 50 nights. So that looks good. That's a month and a little bit more for somebody for a homeless person who didn't have anywhere to sleep. So and we're discounting that. We're thinking that what we're doing is not important enough, so we're not reporting it. We're not documenting it, and we're saying we're doing the work, and then we're unable to attract funds because we don't know how to say it. We don't know how to communicate that. Yeah, what I'm doing. It may not be 250,000 homes yet, but it was at least 50 nights a stay. So what kind of change did that bring about for somebody?
Right.
That was time for them to get themselves together and go on job interview and get a job.
Right.
So we've transformed that person just with those 50 nights of stay. We didn't have to get housing forever.
Yeah, because words matter. And that's basically what Ty is saying, that words matter. Instead of just saying, yeah, we provided housing for 20 people, if you break it down into how much housing you provided for each person individually and how providing those 50 nights of stay was able to transform that person. It gave them an address that they can use to get a job, because most homeless people that are homeless, how are they saying? How is it being said now? Okay.
People who are homeless, people who are, it's everything.
I know. I know. I'm probably saying it wrong. Forgive me if I am. But right now, I can't think of the words that are supposed to, if they go back to.
They revolve this stuff like every year, right? Or every other year.
Yeah. Right. It changes so quickly and so often that sometimes it's hard to keep up. If I had to write it, I would definitely know it. But anyways. Right, exactly.
I got cheat sheet, y'all. It ain't with me right now.
Yes. I'll just go look at my cheat sheet. That's right. So because like we said, people who happen to be homeless actually need an address in order to get a job. So you provide them with an address so that they can get a job. You put them in touch with Address for Success so they can get some professional clothes. You put them in touch with another program that was coaching career development, so they were able to get some soft skills, right, and put a resume together and get some resume practices. And maybe that organization also put them up with a few job interviews, right, and then you were able to bus them to those job interviews. Look at that progression from A to K. We haven't gotten to Z yet, but we've gotten to K, and they got the job. And after they got the job, maybe your policies, they stay an extra month. And then after that, another 30 days, they have to find an apartment. So either you guys are going to help them find the apartment or someone else is going to help them to find the apartment, right? And now we're almost at Z. We're not right at Z yet, right? Because now we have to make sure that they at least maintain that job for a year and maintain, some type of a savings, whatever your program is. The ultimate goal of your program, that's when you get to Z. And that transformation, that full transformation from A to Z can take up to 2 to 3 years. And that is okay. But along that path, you need to be telling that impact story. So people know that you are actually doing what you say you're going to do, and that the transformation is happening. No matter how slowly it's happening, and it's consistent, and it keeps going.
I like that. Tell the impact story along the way. So now you don't have to wait for 3 years to
right.
This is happening. This is unfolding. People will follow you along the journey.
Yes.
Right. So you want to make sure you start telling the story. Don't think that what you're doing is not significant. If you understand what impact is and what transformation looks like, you're going to be able to communicate that as you go. So even if you think about last year, end of year giving, if you had this story to tell in January of last year, and you had it, and you followed this person, or you followed these people, or you followed your group or your program throughout the year, people who are drawn to you will understand, hey, they're doing something. This is a work in progress, but that something is happening. They haven't done this thing that was their vision. They haven't done this yet. They haven't healed the land yet, right? They haven't done all this, but what they have done has made a difference in our community, whether they've gotten 10 people a job, and that means there are 10 less people on the street when I drive downtown tomorrow.
Right.
Right. So this is something that you've done, and just don't discount it. And so this whole year 2022, just take note of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And mark your accomplishments and document that.
I call it the soap opera effect. Tell the story like a soap opera. You know, All My Children went on for how many years? I think All My Children is still on. I don't know, because you're following the person's life, right? Their journey through life. So take your audience that you are going to be looking towards for support on that same journey. And if you're worried about confidentiality, change up a little bit of aspects of the story to keep that person's anonymity so that you're not betraying their confidence, right? But tell the stories along the way so people get interested, they understand what you're doing, and they're aware of what your organization is trying to do. And that is it. All right. Until next time, guys.